Hello, class. How's it going? I'll be answering week 4 discussion question 1. What are some examples of how God responds to humankind's early cultural disasters with agricultural grace? I would want to use the example of the fall because that is something very kind of important to my Christian journey. How, basically Eve was promised that she'd be able to have knowledge of what's good and bad, and her husband Adam essentially kind of aided her in her sin to do that, and committed that act against God. And God knew, He gives us free will to do whatever we want to do. And He knew that probably could have happened. And so He just allowed for them to be able to choose and make that choice. But at the end of the day, because of that, when women's birth was painful, or has ever since then has been painful, and death has entered the world, where we're going to all die, and this won't be our heaven, essentially. And so a way God extends His grace, His cultural grace towards that, is that through accepting His Son as a sacrifice, who paid it in full, so that we don't have to earn it, but can understand God's grace and love for us, that anyone who believes and accepts that can be saved. And regardless whether they are saved or not, God still loves them. He still extends His ever-reaching arms out to anyone who accepts it. And so I think that's a great example of how God extends His cultural grace for us. And just kind of looking more so into my personal life of being an atheist and then becoming a believer, and realizing God's grace, and that it's not through me, it's not through the knowledge that I have. It's not through the apologetics. It's not through people trying to battle me and all the intellectuals, all the good readings and stuff like that. It's truly that love and that grace, that love I felt that has brought me to Christ. And so, yeah, I just relate that to myself. I think that's supporting my reasoning to it's the love factor. I mean, you could read books, you could say this and that, but it's that action piece that has really done it for me to understand, who God is, what He represents, and His representatives, those that are Christians, that are radically living for Christ, or just, doing whatever they can to serve the Lord. It's people like that that kind of help show that cultural grace of God as well. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a great night.